later on in your career, you were an assistant at Ohio State for your boss, Gary Williams. Now, you want to talk about a hard-charging guy, and you got Gary long before he mellowed out. So give me a sense of what it was like I should say, have to work for Gary Williams, but the ability to work for Gary Williams.
I tell people all the time that might have been the single greatest coaching job I've ever witnessed, because we were picked to finish, I think, 9th in the Big Ten. We made it to the NCAA tournament, came within a few points of going to the Sweet 16. And Gary's passion and love for the game, again, he's a guy that loved being on the court. I mean, he embraced coaching. He's a guy that literally got himself ready mentally to practice every day. Right before practice, just like you see him in a game, you knew he was getting to that point in practice. I mean, and so if you had something to say to him, you better say it early, because he was going to be ready. And he took it so serious and just loved it. And his enthusiasm, his tenacity, it showed up in the way his team played.
I mean, I would imagine I have the greatest respect for Gary Williams, but on a certain level, especially at that point in his life and career, he must have been a pretty tough guy to work for at a certain level, right?
Well, I was the only guy he brought in. He had kept Jim Clemens, who was on the staff of Eldon Miller, and Randy Ayers. And so I was the only guy. And Gary and I spent 2 months together living at the Red Roof Inn. And we spent a lot of time together. But I'd known him. To me, he's the kind, we could go months without talking, but we picked right up where we left off. And I learned a lot from him. But yeah, he's got, during the game, he was intense, but
a little edgy.
He yelled at me one time during the game, and actually said to him after the game, I said, Gary, you can't talk to me like that in front of the guys. And he looked at me and said, what are you talking about? And I realized how intense he was. And I remember during one game, he's always sprawling his arms. His watch goes flying off, and I reach over and pick it up and put it in my blue blazer, and I forgot to give it to him after the game. And literally a couple weeks later, I put that jacket on and felt his watch, and I went in and said, I'm sorry. He said, I wonder where that watch went.
Bob Knight always had something nice to say. You guys had a really good connection in a way that most people don't connect with Bob Knight, frankly, the way that you guys connected.
Well, when my generation came into coaching, I mean, you think about it, Coach Wood now was at the end of his career, and the two names would be Bob Knight and Dean Smith. And I was fortunate to have a chance to coach against both of them at the end of their careers. But I can tell you that I don't know if anybody in the business has ever been more willing to get back to the game and talk about the game and help people that really wanted to learn the game. And I think he would relish today with these new rules. I think what he believes in, the movement, the cutting, the screening, his style would be, and again, this spring, every time he sees me, he tells me that, he said, you young guys have, screwed this game up. And,